Welcome back to the second installment of our podcast here, Not Your Normal Shamanad. Your host, as always, Tristan Watma, joined by two very close friends of mine, two seniors, Wesley Carpio and Andrew Selness. So if each of you can introduce yourself, give us a little bit about who you are, what you do around here. Let's start off with Wesley.
As Tristan introduced, I am a senior leader in the Meyer House, and as all of you have been doing, I've been living up in quarantine. Maybe not working as hard as I should be during my schoolwork, but it's second semester senior year. We're having fun and we're working through this.
Awesome. Mr. Selness.
Of course, yeah. As introduced, I'm Andrew Selness, senior in the Gray House. I was really looking forward to getting beaten Scholar Bowl by Ladue, but obviously due to quarantine, it's not happening.
It's truly a darn shame. Now, folks, quick recap. The first podcast with Coach Frank Bennett did awesome. It's up to over 100 views. So if you haven't seen that, please do give that a look on the YouTube channel, Not Your Normal Shamanad. And of course, the first episode came out with over 500 views right now. Everyone is liking it, getting a lot of good feedback. Remember, those will be coming every single week, podcast more regularly than the episodes. So stay tuned. To get us kicked off today, gentlemen, we're going to start off with something that just happened not too long ago, which was Easter, if you didn't know, folks at home. So we're going to catch up on our little Easter recap of what we did and how we spent it during quarantine. So, Mr. Selness, if you want to get it started off.
Of course, yeah. So, as anyone who's talked to me for more than 30 seconds know, I usually attend the extraordinary form of the Mass, the traditional Latin Mass, and I was looking forward to attending Triduum liturgies this year, but obviously, due to unforeseen circumstances, that wasn't possible. Thankfully, the church I attend, the Oratory of Saints Gregory and Augustine, streamed most of their liturgies for Holy Week and for Easter. And so I was able to watch those from home. It was very, very nice. And it really helped me at least stay in touch spiritually over this trying time. I mean, it's been tough not having the sacraments, right? But you at least know that the sacrifice of the Mass is still being offered. And so that's definitely a solace. It was my first time watching an extraordinary form Easter Vigil, so very, very, very incredible. I mean, just the imagery with the darkness and the light kind of contrasting with the choir singing Palestrina's Sicut Cervus. I mean, you gotta love it. And I'd forgotten that after the priest invokes the Gloria at the Easter Vigil, the organ is sounded. And I almost lost my hearing. But other than that, fruitful, blessed Easter.
Awesome. See, now that's good to hear, folks, because, it's good to keep routines as, we talk about and keep normalities. And as you see, Andrew, it seems like you are keeping your normality by going to what you know, which is the oratory, and, using that as kind of maybe some assurance during this time that, like, although you might not be there physically, you still have it, virtually, which is pretty cool, I'm sure. So we're going to sauce it to Wesley, if you want to cover up on how you spent your Easter.
Yeah, so we weren't nearly as spiritual as Selness was. We did watch the Basilica Easter Mass stream, which that was really good to see Archbishop Carlson up there again. And at least have that again, sense of normalcy a little bit. And we watched that. That was very enjoyable. And actually, for the communion there, they had us do a spiritual communion, which was just a simple prayer. How'd they do it for your Masses, Selness?
So usually there's not a communion of the faithful if there's no one at the church. And so it's simply a private Mass. The priest will receive. And after that is when you should make your spiritual communion. The prayer I like is the one written by St. Alphonsus Liguori. So if you have the chance, look it up. It's excellent.
Okay. And after we did that, so it's actually just right now my house, my mom, my dad, and myself. Both my brothers are moved out. And we just hung out for a little bit, and we ended up making lunch together. We had our glorious Easter feast of hamburgers, ham, green bean casserole, and monkey bread. So we spent the afternoon making that, just real feast of fancy. And the rest of the afternoon was just very relaxing. And we ended up getting on a Zoom call with the rest of my family. My brother is in Miami, and my middle brother is living in his own house with his wife. So it's good to see them, talk to them a little bit, catch up. We did mess around with like our nicknames a little bit to slide past our parents and make some inside jokes. But it was good to have like that family interaction on Easter.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I say for me, it's probably a blend of both of what you guys did. You know, spent some time with the familia, watched a couple movies. As you can see, you know, as you found out in the first podcast, Big Basketball Guy, watched some hardwood classic games. A notable one was, you know, Game 2, 2008 Western Conference Finals against the Denver Nuggets. Kobe Bryant drops 49. Just to put that out, watch it. It's on NBA on the YouTube account. So, you know, after this, go sauce over, watch that game. It's great. But yeah, really just spent time, you know, with the people who are in my house and cooked dinner. Baked some chocolate chip cookies that were pretty extraordinary. I'm gonna pat myself on the back for that one. But yeah, it I want to hear both of your opinions. Like, it was very different. You know, it was not normal at all. To not be at like Easter Triduum masses or like any of like the services and not be at Easter mass, it was strange. Like, it's different. But I think to transition to our next point, there was a lot of positives in these things. Maybe for Wesley, it's like, you know, being able to spend that time with his family, you know, in a different mannerism. And Andrew, for you, you know, challenging yourself to find your faith through ways which you probably wouldn't have before, through like a laptop, like stuff like that. So how have you been finding, anyone could take this, we could just have a conversation of how you've been finding positives and all this, you know, negativity that's happening in the world, and, you know, so much stuff that's happening. Like, how and where do you find the positives in these times?
Well, it's definitely like, if you focus on the negatives, you're not going to get through this. So you can focus on the fact, oh, we can't go back to school, which for some is a positive. But can't go back to school, you can't see your friends, or you can't see your family. You can focus on those, but this quarantine is going to feel like forever for you. Focus on what you can do. You can still talk to your parents or the people in your house. You can still text your friends over your phone. At Shauna, we're very fortunate to where pretty sure every single student here has a phone that you can communicate to them with. You can still FaceTime. You can still Zoom. By Zoom, they're offering free calls to just anyone that can have them. Being able to just bond with your family, that you have the opportunity to do that. Some families really like need that at this point, and quarantine offers a good opportunity for that. So focus on what the quarantine enables you to do rather than what's taking you away from doing.
Sure. Yeah. I think if we're talking about things biblically, this is a plague, right? I mean, we know about plagues. They've happened before. And in the moment, it can seem kind of senseless, especially to us seniors. I mean, we're like, why is this happening? Why did we get the year cut short? Why don't we get a proper send-off or what have you? But we know that there's some sort of providential design behind all of this, right? That despite this plague being a definitely bad thing, it will bring about good ends. It will arc towards the good. The question is, we don't actually know what that will be, and we have to be content with that. We have to trust. We have to accept that somehow we will come out on the other side better than this. I think, just relating to what we previously talked about, not being able to go to Easter Mass, I mean, yeah, it's different. It's weird. It feels just strange. We're singing, you know, Resurrexit Sicut Dixit, and yet we're not at Mass. We're just sitting at home watching something on a computer. But I think I've noticed one thing, in that this has kind of increased my thirst for sacraments and then for God. Like, being away, being let out into this desert, this sort of isolation, it only makes you want to return even more. So I think that's at least one thing that I've gained from this. And as Wesley said, you can take advantage of the opportunities that quarantine does afford you. During the regular school year, we're always so busy, we don't really get to spend much time with our families, the people closest to us. And now that we kind of have to, I think like Wesley said, it's a good opportunity.
Yeah, most definitely. You bring up some Latin. I'm gonna just spit some Latin. Wearing the Latin Club T-shirt. Shout out Latin. Shout out Dr. Hartfield. I'm reminded of Spanish Club. I'm reminded of a quote. It's pretty popular. Like "Si vis pacem para bellum." Like if you want peace, prepare for war. And I think in this sense, I mean, war is something we can't even control. And I think if we desire peace, we have to prepare for this. Like we can't just like go outside and try to live a normal life. This is the battle. Like, and you hear from Wesley, hear from Andrew, these are the ways you win this battle. This is how you prepare for it. And inevitably you're going to get something out of it. You're going to grow as a human being, as a son, as a brother, you're going to grow in each respective field. And it's, even as a student, maybe this is a time that's challenging you to, study more or spend more time to your studies in a different way because you don't have that face-to-face conversation. It's on yourself a little bit. So I think this is a good time, to focus on building yourself and your habits and everything else. Now, let's transition into some fun stuff, folks. Our first big question of the day. Would you rather? Okay. Would you rather read a fantastic book or watch an amazing movie? And I think Andrew's got something. So let's go around the table. Read a fantastic book or watch an amazing movie, and there is interjection and debate allowed.
Go, Drew.
This all depends on what can inflate my superiority complex even further. So essentially, my view is this, right? With a movie, there's some really great movies out there. And if I watch a modern cinematic masterpiece, say Spider-Man 3 or Johnny English Strikes Again, right? That's a great movie. I'll get a lot of entertainment value out of that. But it doesn't really make me look smart, But on the other hand, if I watch something like Citizen Kane or Ben-Hur, that requires very minimal effort and still makes me look smart. On the other hand, if I read a great book like Confessions, Dostoevsky, it requires a lot of effort and it still makes me look smart. And so here's the deal. If I watch an old movie, it requires minimal effort and makes me look smart. If I read a good book, it requires quite a bit of effort. And so, I don't know. It just depends on what kind of movie I'm watching. That's my answer.
I see. Well, like with a movie, like after I watch a movie, it's good. But then, like, I just spent the last hour and a half to 2 hours sitting in one spot, and like you get like some life lessons there.
What are you doing reading? You're reading in a single spot for hours.
No, but okay, for reading, you can like if you're reading a good book, you feel like you're being productive by reading because everyone's saying, like, oh, you should always like read more and everything. No one's saying watch more movies. Everyone's saying read more.
I deny that statement.
How many teachers have told you watch more movies?
So many.
Really?
You know how many teachers give me movie recommendations? No one reads books anymore.
I read books.
I
I just feel good about myself when I finish a book or I have a reading session.
Now, okay, so we have in the middle with Andrew, we have a book for Wesley because, he wants to sound smart or something. But
that is the core reason.
Yeah, I know. But I am definitely going with a movie, and this is why I'm picking a movie. You know what you can do multiple times, and it's quite easy?
Pause.
You can watch a movie multiple times. You could read a book multiple times, but it'll take a long time. It does not require a lot to watch a good movie. So for instance, one of my favorite movies, Shrek. If I want to watch Shrek, I can sit down and watch it, and then let's say I want to rewind it, I can rewind, I can watch it again whenever I want. It's on my phone, I could just do it, But a book, like you said, it does require more time. And I will admit, the first time you read a book, it is like a good book. You're just like, this is awesome. Like, you're sucked into it. But for entertainment purposes, I would rather watch a movie, a really good movie. Like, I think it hits if it's like an emotional movie, like a sad movie, it hits you harder. I feel like it's in your face. Like it's very hard. I think it's more difficult to get distracted watching a movie than reading a book.
Okay, but in a movie, a book, yes, it's a bigger time investment, but that's because like you're investing yourself deeper in the characters that you're dealing with, which in the end pays off to have a greater emotional response from you. Also, your reasons are based off of, oh, I just don't have enough time to reread a book. I'll only just rewatch Shrek.
But it's never okay. But it's never this. No one like. Have you, Wesley, been like, you know what?
Okay, but we're not talking about recurring times. We're
Hold
talking
on.
about
Calm down. Have you, Wesley? Have you ever been like, you read a book, then it's like 2 years later, and you're just like, you know what? I think I'm gonna really reread that book.
That's out of the question.
Have you ever done that?
That's out of the question.
Have you ever done that though?
Your question was, would you rather read a good book or watch an amazing movie? Not reread or rewatch. It's a one-time thing.
It's fair.
So we get the answer. He doesn't do that.
Oh, I do.
Well, you're a different breed.
Guess my opinion's invalid then.
No, both your opinions are very valid. So I just like, I love reading. Like I love reading a good book. I feel like you.
Sure.
Get out of here, nerd. I do like reading a good book. I just finished a book right now. That's a true story. I can go grab it for evidence. But when I watch, like, I'll be honest, I just watched Onward, that Pixar movie with the brothers and stuff. I just watched Onward, and like, for like way less time, I was like entertained. It emotionally was like awesome. It had everything you wanted in a book, but it like you get to see it. So it's really like imagination versus like what you can actually see, and like it's kind of like spoon-fed a little bit. Sure. What?
Because you have a bad imagination.
No, I have a fantastic imagination. I have the best imagination. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Also, wasn't Onward Disney?
I said Pixar.
Is Pixar owned by Disney?
I think like that answer, that was self-explanatory, folks. Wesley Carpio, everybody. But all right, let's take a vote. Wesley, book or movie?
Book.
Andrew?
I will go with a book simply because I mostly read nonfiction, and so frankly the emotional investment doesn't really matter that much to me. And so if I'm reading an excellent work of theology, that's far more edifying for me than perhaps watching a movie, which I still enjoy a good deal. Like I've got a top 10 list of movies. I mean, all three Johnny English ones are in it, but there's also Casablanca and 12 Angry Men, of the other movies like that. But I would have to go book, simply because I think there's a lot of spiritual wisdom that can be gained from reading a book that might not be able to be gained from watching a movie. Although there are good movies about theology about there. But.
That's a good argument. I'm going to be the outlier here. I'm going to vote for the movie. So for the people watching this right now, I want you to get in the comments section, and I want you to vote, and then we'll tally up who, which opinion the Shamrock community stands by. So you both said book. So what I want you guys to do right now is we're going to go around the table again. We're going to recommend one or two books. Then after that, we'll recommend a couple movies for people to watch because, you know, people got times on their hands. Wes, book recommendation, go for it.
Okay, I have two books from the same author, Andy Weir, The Martian and Artemis. There is a movie version of the Artemis, so I guess that could also go for my movie recommendation. But if you're into like science fiction, like in like the scientific details, both quality books with, in my opinion, really good storylines that you can really sink some time into. Actually, Artemis, I had to read for Karcher's grading period assignments, and I ended up finishing it like 3 weeks early just because I genuinely like the book.
All right, I'll go with one work of fiction and one work of nonfiction. In terms of fiction, you can't go wrong with Shakespeare. Hamlet, absolutely love it. So read some Shakespeare. You've got time. And then in terms of nonfiction, you know I have to go with St. Augustine's Confessions. It's just, you can find the entire body of theology just contained within this little book's pages. I mean, it's really incredible. It gets a little convoluted later, but I think it presents theology in a pretty rhetorically accessible way. That's actually entertaining to read. It's not like dry like a scholastic. So.
See, Selness has books within his reach. I just have a fruit roll-up in my reach.
I'm sitting next to a bookshelf, so it's not really fair.
We're going to go grab my book, my first book that I just read to prove to Wesley that I do know how to read. All right.
Spine check.
What was that?
You got to check the book spine.
Oh, spine check. Yeah.
Okay.
Spine check right here. Spine check.
You didn't read that.
I did too. Look, I even put Sharpie. Look at that. Look at that. Yeah, eat that, Wesley.
The used book.
Okay, buddy. But I do buy used books. If you do want to buy good books, go to Half Price Books. They don't sponsor this, but I wish they did. Half Price Books over Barnes and Noble. But anywho, I read this, and it's basically a little, like commentary on what's the purpose of being on Earth. A little deep dive into like your faith. What are you doing here on Earth? Really good. Kind of like that spiritually motivational book that some of you may really need to read. So this is really awesome. It is a really good book. You'll get pretty sucked into it. Then the other book that I probably recommend, I was actually going to do Shakespeare. I was also actually going to say Hamlet before Andrew said it. I'm a big Shakespeare fan. So I'll just piggyback because that was what I was going to say. Keep it true. Hamlet's awesome. I think you should all read it at one point in your life. Brave New World, stuff like that. You should all read these kind of books. It's really good stuff. Then after you read it, probably hook up with, Dr. Denoyer. Actually, let's use this time to congratulate two new doctors, Dr. Brett Denoyer and Dr. Sontheimer. Two just graduated, just became new doctors. So if we'll clap it up for those two who are just becoming doctors. But if you have anything, hit up Dr. Denoyer. He'll let you know about that Brave New World. Now,
It just sounds so right. It should have always been that way.
always Dr. Denoyer. It just sounds right. It rolls off the tongue. Now we're going to transition into some movie recs. So go around the table one more time and shoot for maybe 2 or 3 movies to recommend.
Okay. First one, I would go Saving Private Ryan. Quality war movie. I really liked it. I feel like it's not just like straight action. Like there actually is like a lesson behind like war and like the actual like kind of gory details about it. It doesn't try to glorify it at all. And actually Onward, really good movie. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope I didn't steal your movie recommendation, Tristan.
Oh, I got plenty.
But it finds a way, honestly, because I watched it with my family, and it finds a way to kind of like try and relate with everyone that could possibly be watching it. Like there's a character in there that somehow will relate to you, I believe.
It's a good pick. Give you a high five for that one. That was a very good pick. Andrew, I know you've got some heat.
Yeah, my number one movie of all time. It's a 2-hour watch, so nothing too involved. Koa Reed's The Third Man. It's a noir crime thriller set in 1940s Vienna after World War II. It's got one of the best twists in cinema. Excellent camera work, great cast. You got Orson Welles, you got Joe Cotton. It's the entire ordeal, and it is just an excellent movie. Great soundtrack too. It's all Zither music, so kind of tinny and funny. As for a second recommendation, I got to go with the Johnny English trilogy. It's Rowan Atkinson at his best, possibly the worst movies ever made. I think the highest percentage on Rotten Tomatoes one of them has gotten is somewhere in the 50s. But these things are just absolutely ridiculous, awful movies that you should definitely watch.
I agree. Yeah, they are terrible, but you should watch them. They're absolutely hilarious. Okay, my movie recs. My first one is one of my favorites. I tell these guys all the time about it. The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith is an absolute masterpiece. It doesn't have the best Rotten Tomato scores. That's because the people who work at Rotten Tomato scores are crazy. But it is such a good movie. The emotional aspect to it, this dad and the son who are just struggling through life. And then just it all comes together, and you're just sitting there with a tear coming down your eye like, this is amazing. Definitely watch it. Watch it with your father, because, after you watch it with your dad, you want to give him a hug or something. It is a great, great film. My second film, I'll go, there's a lot. I recommend, I'll give one animated one, animated movie, and then one other movie. The real movie that I'm going to say is The Green Book. If you ever have watched Green Book, that is an awesome movie. Just about, segregation in the South, and just the relationship between, this Italian New Yorker, and this African-American genius of a piano and songwriter. And it's a great movie. Their relationship that grows, and it truly is an entertaining film. Then the third one, it's gotta go. The Shrek trilogy, not the fourth. Don't watch Shrek 4. But the first three, those are fire. All right, Shrek 1 is a cinematic masterpiece. Eddie Murphy paired with Mike Myers, and you put come on now. Celine Diaz, come on now. You're winning. You're winning.
Come in.
You got Smash Mouth on the cover? Come on, Smash Mouth covering the songs. You win. You win. So those are our movie recs. So transitioning into some fun, we are going back into Chaminade. So all three of us are seniors, as you might know, and we've been involved in a lot, done a lot of things, and unfortunately, as we all know, school has been canceled. So we have had our last days at Chaminade, and we are now going to go into a little just sentimental reminiscing, almost, if you will, of just some of our fondest memories. And this is open-ended. We could just talk, have a good time, talk about the moments that we've been involved in, and just reminisce. So we're going to use this time, just go around, whoever wants to start, and just some of your fondest memories you've had at Chaminade. Because Andrew, you've started in 6th grade, whereas Wes started as a freshman, and then I started in 7th grade. So we've been through it all, been through the process, and now we're just gonna have some nice share time.
I can start it off. I'd say one of my favorite memories is actually the senior graduation from last year. I got really close with the senior class last year. I had a lot of good friends in there, and I was lucky enough to be able to work graduation, handing out flyers and everything, and just interact with the seniors on their last day at Chaminade. And it was a tear-jerking moment, because you heard Tristan, I came here as a freshman, and before that, I've been at public school all my life, and I never really had friends in different grade levels. If they weren't in your grade, you didn't talk to them, really. That's how it was at my other schools. But at Chaminade, I have friends all the way to middle school, freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors from last year. I've been talking, I text them all the time. And going to that graduation and just seeing the relationships that everyone managed to form through either 7 years or 4 years at Chaminade or anywhere in between, which amazing. And you can see that in all different areas of Chaminade. I kind of go into my next one with cross country. I got cut from soccer sophomore year, and I thought it was the end of the world, but that ended up introducing me to the cross country team, and I've had so much fun with that team, meeting everyone on there, suffering together through the runs, but ultimately being better in the end because of it, and just having those relationships. It's something you don't get in a lot of places outside of Chaminade.
Yeah, and you bring up last year's graduation. I don't know if this will of course it doesn't. You hate to see it. Oh no. But that's a picture from last year's graduation, and you hear it from Wesley. That's just the community we have. All three of us got close to that class, and there's a lot of guys from that class, and that's a great memory, and it's fun because it's not necessarily his. It wasn't Wesley's to have. It's it was having to experience their moment. That's what's so selfless about it, and so awesome about it. is just to be there with the people you got to grow with, and to see them take that next step is an awesome memory. And I was glad I got to share that with you, Wes. That was a great memory.
Me as well. We had some good pictures.
There were some great pictures. I'm not even going to lie. Whoever took those pictures did a good job.
Testament to Chaminade's family spirit. I mean, we have a lot of buzzwords we like to throw around at Chaminade. I often joke that the Chaminade gentleman is a mythological creature, but I think family spirit, it's a real visceral thing at Chaminade. Like, I know plenty of juniors and sophomores and even freshmen who I feel like are seniors just because I'm around them a lot. So it's kind of odd, because you think, oh, we're going to be gone, and then you realize they're going to still be there because you think you're in the same grade as them. So it's just odd, but also comforting, because you know that you have that tight-knit family.
Yeah. It's definitely like, as a senior, at least for me, I had like a lot of little like tiny moments. It's like going through Chaminade, being a freshman, not knowing anyone, and like having those seniors to look up to, going through sophomore and junior year, like the seniors reaching out to me, just upperclassmen. Like when I got into their shoes, I wanted to provide that same thing to the grade levels below me. And like hearing some like students, like people in my mentor group saying like, oh, like you've been like a big help to me, or just like being a retreat leader and having like people in my small group talk to me. It's like, it's the little victories that let you know like everything you've been working for like is actually like paying off, like you're doing something. And like being a senior, that's probably like one of the biggest things to look forward to, is like you're in a position to help people. Like literally just like having the title senior, people like listen to you a little bit, and like being able to act on that, like you have so much potential to do good at Chaminade.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, it's a lot of little victories, that just like it's the whole it's kind of like an Easter egg hunt. You get the individual eggs and you fill up your basket. Ironically, Easter was just that's how my imagination works, Wesley, that you said I don't have.
It's so coincidental. It's almost like it was intentional.
Oh. Yeah, but you're absolutely right about that. And I'll let Andrew take the floor for some of his fondest moments at Chaminade.
Very hard to single out just one. Like you said, there's just so many small moments. Winning the JV Scholar Bowl championship freshman year with you, Tristan. I mean, we were so happy, and then we realized, oh, that was JV, and then we proceed to get our butt kicked by Priory every single year. But and then running cross country, I've run cross country since 6th grade. There's been all sorts of insane memories. Watching Wesley run districts his junior year, and then obviously watching the guys run in sectionals my senior year. That just meant a lot to me, because I had seen us getting like the last place in varsity meets my freshman year. Like, just seeing the progression of the program throughout my 4 years at Chaminade, it was really special. And then of course there's all sorts of other great memories. It's very hard to recall them off the bat. I think one that jumps to mind was my first Chaminade drama production. I adamantly maintain that I am not a theater kid. I've been in what, 3 shows? So no, absolutely not. There's an ontological distinction between a theater kid and a kid who does theater. But just seeing the seniors give their speeches opening night, it had a pretty big emotional impact on me. I actually wrote my college essay about that. It simply gave me a new perspective, because I realized that would be me in a year. I would be the one giving a farewell speech. And I guess it kind of forced me to realize how grateful I should be just for the time I've had at Chaminade. Again, it sounds like a pious platitude, but it goes by really quickly. Tempus fugit. I mean, time really does fly. And again, you don't know when it could be taken away from you. Like, we all thought we had a few more months left, right? but that got snatched away too. And so you really do have to have that attitude of gratitude. That rhymed. Wow, I'm cool. Going into each and every day, because you don't know. You simply don't know. And that's part of the human condition. I mean, everything we do, it's temporal. It could end. And so I think learning that was definitely a valuable lesson that I learned from Chaminade. So that's just to name a few, though. There are countless others.
Yeah, absolutely. We could
I
be here.
remember. Oh, go ahead, Tristan.
Oh no, you go. It's all right.
So I remember distinctly from my freshman orientation, one of the seniors like giving a speech to us, and they said, like, enjoy your time at Chaminade because it goes by in a blink of an eye. And like, Selness, you talk about how like time flies and how it got snatched away from us. Like, I just think back to that now. Like, I'm pretty much like all the seniors now. Like, we get out in less than a month, and just for me, like my schoolwork hasn't been too bad, and I'm just like, I pretty much feel like we've already graduated. Like we had, like Tristan said earlier, our last day at Chaminade already, and it's like it all happened without us really realizing it. That now, like we're done.
Yeah, and yeah, it's odd, like we said, but you know, you guys listening at home, you could be a teacher, a senior, you could be a sixth grader listening right now. Chaminade really is a special place, and we're here like talking about our fondest memories. If we really wanted to talk about every single one, us three could be here till like 3 a.m. Just talking about, you know, some of our favorite moments. But like it really is real. And you know, Wesley brings up that senior who says like, you know, the time flies, you know, spend it well. Here's 3 seniors to tell you right now that, yeah, it will fly. And, you know, you just got to make sure you're making the most of it. You're like, if you want something, you have to go out and get it. And that same thing applies at Chaminade. If you are just the kid or the guy who, you know, goes to Chaminade for school and then leaves right after, there's nothing wrong with that. But what makes Chaminade so special is these little things that each of them are talking about. You know, those cross-country meets, you know, putting on a theater production. It's these little tiny things that make it so special, not just the education, because sure, we have the best teachers, and that's, you know, something that really makes Chaminade special is we have absolutely the best teachers. You know, the classroom environment it's like home. But you have to get that. Like, you have to go out and challenge yourself, you know, to do those things. Because, Andrew, like, I've known you since middle school, and there are a lot of things that I would never in a million years thought you would be doing, you know, never in a million years. But like you took that step and you took that initiative to go and, you know, accept it and experience it. And you learn and got so much from it. So I think this is really, like, for you guys listening, this is really a cool experience for just, you know, 3 seniors, kind of just allowing you guys to know, like, how awesome it has been for us, like how truly amazing Chaminade has been for each of us. And I'm not ending it because we still have time to talk about, you know, some of our fondest memories, but I just wanted to say that to let you guys know at home.
That's just like, use us as like a learning opportunity, because no one, maybe like 1 or 2 people in the senior class expect our school year to get cut this short. So like, use us as an example to like realize that Chaminade really can get like cut short without you realizing it. And for every other grade level, you still have at least 1 more year at Chaminade. And maybe some of you won't be coming back next year, but just like enjoy the time you're given for those who are coming back to Chaminade. Because you don't want to be in our shoes where we didn't realize that our time would be taken away and wishing we would have enjoyed them more.
Yeah. So I think I'm gonna round it out, just talk about finish off some fondest memories, and then we'll close it out here for the second installment of our podcast. yeah, but these guys covered a lot of good stuff that have happened. And thankfully, we've been, like we've experienced a lot of it together. For one, Chaminade Theater has been awesome for me. And I'll never forget putting on my last show this year. I've been doing it since middle school, and every single year doing hours and hours and hours of time invested into these plays. And I don't regret it at all. Like, people are like, how as a eighth grader are you doing tech weeks till 10 p.m.? And like, I remember back then I was like, this is crazy. Like, how do people do this? But it's just like, it becomes home, like doing those plays. And I'll never forget, putting on that last show, hearing, the senior speeches, giving my senior speech, something I thought, of since I've been a kid, like, wow, that's me now. And seeing everybody and coming together, it was truly like an emotional thing. You know, Doing one last show with Mr. Grummick, who's been an awesome like role model in my life, and doing with you guys who are two of my closest friends, and a lot of other of the guys and girls who make Chaminade Theater what it is, was an awesome experience. And I think the other one that all three of us, I'm sure, can agree on is MLC, Life Week, just everything that we were gifted from that community of being in MLC. And I think each and every one of you, like, we could go around the corner right now and just say, something so special that you got out of MLC.
Yeah, sure, definitely. I would say it's the relationships you get out of MLC that you never would have expected. Like, I would have never started in theater if it weren't for MLC. Mr. Shaver asked me if I wanted to do it sophomore year, and I filled the application, and luckily I was accepted. And I went on Life Week, and I made a lot of amazing friends, and one of them was Vincent Laurie and Tristan Huatma. And obviously you both know that they're really involved in theater. So I was like, oh, you know what? I'll go to a theater production. Like, I have friends in it now. I have some interest there. So junior year, I went to my very first like Chaminade show, Imaginary Invalid. And after I was like, this is something I could actually get into. And I did Our Town, which was, in my opinion, Selness would disagree with me, the most boring show Chaminade has ever put on. Doing Tech Week, I still don't know the plot of the show, but I had so much fun doing that. And all of that stemmed from MLC. It's just the little things that add up to just like changing the path of your high school career.
Sure. I think with MLC, one of the biggest, most valuable things that I've gained is obviously being able to have a place on Chaminade's campus where you can talk about faith with other students. That's definitely valuable. We are a Catholic school after all, and so it's important that we have a student organization that allows for students to develop their interior lives. But I think another thing is I've made friends across class divisions that I wouldn't have otherwise. Mentor group is definitely a good place to do that, house events, but outside of that, you don't really have a lot of opportunities during the school day to meet people from other classes, right? Like, unless you're like crazy advanced at math, like, I don't know, at Divis, but yeah, you can meet people from different classes, and you can actually form those bonds with them that you wouldn't have otherwise. I think that's pretty valuable. But then I think it's interesting that Wesley mentioned Our Town. If you haven't had the chance, I think it's a good play to read, even if our production was a little dry. But the entire point of the play, because it is a play about ordinary life, it is a play without a plot, really. It's simply a play that explores the lives of some ordinary people, and then of course they die. And the point is, you don't understand how special each day is until it's just simply gone. And so it kind of fills you with this salutary eschatological dread that actually compels you to be grateful for each moment you have. And so yeah, definitely good.
Tristan, how are your top MLC memories?
Yeah, what do you got?
I've got a couple. Our core members retreat last year. So Wesley, you remember this, was an absolute blast. You know, it's an overnight. We're sleeping on the 4th floor, you know, and we're just having fun, laughing, like, you know, just having a good time. And it was so nice to be able to like be at school, but do something that had nothing to do with school and just be together, you know, all like 32 of us, and experience that with all the moderators.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And this year too, this year's was fun as well. I absolutely love that. But other than that, I mean, I look forward to every Saturday meeting we had, from, you know, respecting women to, you know, having our cornhole, you know, tournament. And it overall, it was just so like fulfilling. It was so fruitful, the entire experience of it, to not only grow in faith, you know, with your classmates, but also just to grow in friendship and grow, you know, brothers, and to have moderators who really do care about you. And this sounds like a big plug right now to MLC, so shout out to the mods. But like, we mean it from the bottom of our heart. Like, we're just here talking about it, and it's something very special, you know, to all 3 of us. And Chaminade has been special to all 3 of us. So we've been getting really sentimental. A lot has been said. You know, a lot of memories have been spoken, and we're gonna wrap it up here. We're gonna go around the table one last time with us 3. Just last words of wisdom, last comments to give to the people watching at home. So if we want to start with Wesley.
Yeah. So, Ruth, I think the big thing here is that time being a lot shorter than we thought it was going to be. Like, this doesn't just apply to high school. We can even take the connection to like getting close with your family. Like, you don't know when like that last time will be. Like, not to get sad, but I'm just like being serious. Like, you have to live in the moment. That's been something I've been trying to do recently, because being a senior, you're having like a lot of lasts. We have our last day at Chaminade. You have your last day like living at, or like having your last day birthday in town with your family, having your last time like sleeping in your bed, waking up to your parents, going to school because we're going to college next year. There's a lot of lasts, and you're realizing that you need to live in the moment, because before you know it, you're going to have lived that and you're on the next phase of your life.
I think we basically said all there can be said about Chaminade. I mean, it is a special place, so don't take it for granted. But I'd just like to leave you guys with a few thoughts just about this quarantine, and maybe some things you can do to improve your interior life during the quarantine. We've got a lot of free time at this point, a lot of time where you might be sedentary, just sitting around doing nothing. Use that time to pray. And when I say pray, I don't just mean say a rosary or pray the liturgy, the hours. Simply sit in silence, sit in solitude. There's a reason that after he preached, after he healed, after he worked miracles, Jesus would often retreat into the wilderness to be alone with his Father. I think we can use this time to recharge in interior lives. So if you just sit in solitude and simply be in the presence of God, I think that could be very valuable. And now that we have that extra time, we're not always running around, I guess, kind of tyrannized by noise and activity. You actually do have that opportunity. So it can be in your room, it can be outside. Just take the time to be alone, to get outside of yourself, and just try to see the face of God. Just really try to seek that. That's just my little piece of advice for something you can do during quarantine.
Yeah.
How about you, Tristan?
Well, these folks are going to be stuck with me for a couple more podcasts, but they covered it. I just want to, before I give final thoughts and a recap, I just want everyone, give it up for these 2 gentlemen. You know, we're talking about exemplar human beings and people who we should be role models and like look up as role models, and we should model. Andrew Selness and Wesley Carpio, folks, 2 fantastic. All right, kid, 2 fantastic human beings. So I'm glad you both joined me today for this podcast. It truly has been a fun one, folks. Oh, of course, anytime. If you want them to come back for another podcast, give this thing a thumbs up. Let's get it up to 50. I sound like a real YouTuber now.
Smash
up to
that like
50
button.
likes.
Where's
Smash it,
the,
folks.
where's the merch link going up?
Oh, the merch link. We're making some merch. It's coming. Don't worry, it's not
Nice.
coming.
Is
But,
there gonna be a live stream anytime soon?
a live stream, like a live podcast?
Yeah.
That's a good idea for the future, folks. If you want a live podcast, we'll have a Q&A session in the live podcast, streaming it on YouTube Live. Give that a thumbs up and put it in the comment section if you want it. But we have talked about Easter. We gave some words of wisdom in the beginning. Talked about books, which are worse than movies, obviously, and we then rounded it out with some great memories we've all had from Chaminade, folks. So one last time, this is Wesley Carpio, Andrew Selness, and myself. Thank you for tuning in to Not Your Normal Chaminade. This has been episode 2. Watch out for episode 3 of this podcast, and also episode 2 is coming soon. Check that one out. Check out episode 1 if you have not already. Subscribe and share this, folks. We're doing this stuff for you guys, so please do like, subscribe, and share. Peace, everybody.